Future might be here, and it might be third party. We'll see what ends up happening. The whole thing of Xbox possibly going third party, today is the day where we'll officially get that announcement. We're just waiting for 3 o'clock, 5 minutes from now, for the podcast to go live. I am going to I'll be taking notes over here on the side, of course, and yeah, we'll see what ends up happening here because this again, the industry could be changing in front of our eyes. Where who knows? Who know? So here's okay. So here's actually a bit of an announcement that I want to say. So depending on um, depending on oh boy, this is just stupid. God, you can't even get the actual like podcast itself. There's like no channel for the podcast itself. It's not on the Xbox app or anything. There's so much shit. um, let's go to like is the so where in the hell is this actual podcast? I know I just started up a thought train and then just dropped it immediately. Hold on a second here. So like, do they actually have a playlist for Xbox Partner Preview? Showcase. Hmm. Power On, Game Awards. Like the weird thing. Oh yeah, Outcast. I was actually gonna. I was gonna try that actually. Maybe I'll give it a try. After this, we'll see. But man, I just seen Jodie Comer in her latest movie. There, very good, very well done. She kills it. She kills it on the big screen. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not seeing any of actual podcasts, but anyways, that's what we're waiting for. A few more minutes, and then we'll be jumping into the Xbox podcast episode. So depending on what the information is, if the information today, notice I'm wearing blue and green also because I'm yeah. I want to see all these Xbox games come to PlayStation. If it does not happen, I'm going to go on a mass blocking ban on my Twitter of just dropping everyone who is a rumor or a leaker mill account because I really need to do it anyways. I need to actually like block and drop all of them because they all get their information all fucked up. They're always full of shit. Um, they say 10 different things of stuff that could happen until one of them becomes a reality. Then they go, I told you so. So again, and what I might actually want to start doing, because I've been thinking about this for a while, is figure out all the developers and start seeing what they got to say and just listen to developers, just listen to the people in positions of power, CEOs and the developers themselves making the content and all that, and just go, again, the reason why I've held off on doing it was just because it takes a little while to like find everyone on social media and to get the algorithm going into that direction, because the algorithm on social media, this is the thing with social media, the algorithm, because there's so many gullible people on social media, it constantly, the people that will post up a rumor mill thing will get millions of views and engagements on the post. Meanwhile, the people who actually know the information because they're working on the thing, I mean, most of it's NDA, like they can't say anything anyways. But the little bits and pieces of information that you do get, um, they get buried by all the bullshit. So it's a little thing I like to call it bullshitism, where it's like, everybody's believing in this whole bubble of just rumors and leaks, and then everybody just dismisses when somebody who actually works on a project says something. All right, so it's 3 o'clock. It is a 3 o'clock. So where the hell do we find this podcast at? The Xbox podcast. I'm generally curious to know where the frick do we find it at? Maybe Xbox.com. Um, Actually, wait. Xbox podcast. Podcast. Bingo. Xbox Wire. Ah. Watch now. Here we go. Updates on Xbox. Okay, so it's 20 minutes. Let's do it. Let's jump into it. Do it.
Welcome to the official Xbox podcast. I'm your host, Tina Amini, and we have a very special episode today, as you can probably tell by the fact that I'm joined by Phil, Sarah, and Matt. Welcome.
I'm pretty sure it's Matt Booty, Sarah Bondi, Phil Spencer. Funny enough, Major Nelson is not with the company anymore. Interesting enough, I guess you could also say.
And we're going to talk about some updates at Xbox. We want to talk about game exclusivity. We want to talk about Activision Blizzard now that they're part of our portfolio, how that might be an impact on Game Pass. And we want to talk about hardware, too, and how all of this fits into the strategy at Xbox. So where should we start, Phil?
Okay.
Well, when we originally had planned for the show, starting back in December, I think we probably would have started with Activision Blizzard, maybe talked a little bit about the exclusivity with some of the news coming up, and then hardware. But we've had some unforeseen news that has come out. So let's just go and tackle the exclusivity question, because I know it's on the minds of a lot of people. We hear from the community, and that's an important input for us. So we made the decision that we're going to take 4 games to the other consoles, just 4 games. Not a change to our kind of fundamental exclusive strategy. We're making these decisions for some specific reasons. We make every decision really with the long-term health of Xbox in mind.
What's the 4 games?
And long-term health of Xbox means a growing platform, our games performing, building the best platform for creators, reaching as many players
What's
as
the
we
big
can.
4?
We're always looking to learn as a leadership team and to grow. And we think this is an interesting point in time for us to use what some of the other platforms have right now to help grow our franchises. So we're going to do that.
So these 4 titles, what are they? Can you say?
I'm not going to name those games. The teams that are building those games have announced plans that are not too far away. As we know, game teams put a lot of energy into their announcements with the partners. So I don't want to take anything away from those teams. So I won't be talking about the titles specifically, but I think when they come out, it'll make sense.
Can we say if either of those titles are Starfield or Indiana Jones?
They are not Starfield or Indiana Jones.
Well,
That
what was the
sucks.
criteria and how the team was thinking about selecting those 4 titles?
Let me
That
start a little bit
really
outside of
sucks.
that, and then I'll get to the 4 specific games that we're talking about right now. Because the fundamental decision driver for any decision that we make, anything we're going to talk about today, is the long-term health of Xbox. That we're running a growing platform that is reaching more players.
It's not growing,
that our
though.
games are having as much success as possible. And I do have a fundamental belief that over the next 5 or 10 years, exclusive games that are exclusive to one piece of hardware, are going to be a smaller and smaller part of the game industry. And that's not some great insight, because if you look at the last 10 years and what the biggest games are today, it's a natural place. Whether it's one console and PC, multiple consoles, mobile console and PC, you see big games landing on multiple platforms. And we want to be a great platform for creators that are trying to realize that potential. But now back to the specifics of the question on these four specific titles. We looked at games that are over a year old, so they've been on Xbox and PC for a while. A couple of the games are community-driven games, new games that kind of first iterations of a franchise that have reached their full potential, I'd say, on Xbox and PC. There's always growth. Franchises that we obviously want to continue to invest in. Part of having the ability to continue to invest is that the businesses behind those franchises continue. We think it's important that these service-based games that have communities behind them, that they can have confidence that they're going to exist in the future. So 2 of them, kind of community-driven games that will end up on other platforms and give us the ability to continue to invest in them. We think that's great for the business and great for the communities, more players to play with. I'd say 2 of the other games are smaller games that were never really meant to be built as kind of platform exclusives and all the fanfare that goes around that, but games that our teams really wanted to go build, that we love supporting creative endeavors across our studios regardless of size. And as they've realized their full potential on Xbox and PC, we see an opportunity to utilize the other platforms as a place to just drive more business value out of those games, allowing us to invest in maybe future iterations of those, so sequels to those, or just other games like that in our portfolio.
So basically, I am taking notes on the side here, but basically, the ones that they don't feel confident in that they're going to grow on the Xbox platform, they're going to take those and show them over to the PlayStation. But their main bread and butter games that they really need to push over to other consoles, say, so one of them, what they should be bringing over is, again, a Halo that everybody didn't like the multiplayer on, or that everybody had whatever the problem was. I don't remember if it was multiplayer or if it was single player, but that stuff should be coming over to PlayStation, so you can grow the player base and have the console wars on in the online environment. Get people playing the game to be like, I'm a PlayStation guy playing Halo and I'm beating an Xbox guy's ass. There's your competition. That's your new fanboy war. Get everybody competing online, so then you have double the player base playing your online game. What this is just giving basically crumbs over to the other consoles, being like, yeah, we're gonna dip our toe in just to see. This is Microsoft business, and this is also Satya Nadella too. This is a lot to do with Satya Nadella, of what he's also been saying, because he just repeated a line. We want to grow Xbox and have no exclusives. That is a Satya Nadella line that he's said over and over and over again.
And when we don't damage Xbox and we can grow our business using what other platforms have and to help us with that, we're going to do that. And that's really the story behind these 4 games. And last thing I'll say.
Yeah, use the other platforms to try and sell the games that damn well ain't going to work well, and they ain't going to work anyways, because nobody wants a games as a service anymore, in all honesty. Like I said, Helldivers 2, that is just there's like 1 out of 12 of them that have been shut down and taken offline and everything. Again, wait until next month, and Helldivers 2 won't be around either. Power World, the numbers are already starting to drop off, and the developers are like, this is dumb. It's just people being lazy. It's because these games only have a life shelf of like maybe 30 days, and then the next thing comes out, and you just forget about it.
Say, looking forward, I think there is an interesting story for us of introducing Xbox franchises to players on other platforms to get them more interested in Xbox. We think there's a good brand value for Xbox there. So 4
Using
games,
other platforms.
no promise beyond that. So if you're on those other platforms and you see these 4 games coming, please don't take it as some signal that everything's coming. It's not. And we're going to learn.
So when you are thinking about the future and this concept of live service games that can benefit from bigger audiences, new audiences, how does that apply to future titles and how you're applying that criteria there?
Yeah, there's really no fundamental change to how we think about exclusivity. We just came out of Developer Direct, which was an awesome show, where we showed great games that are coming to Xbox and PC and cloud, which really makes them accessible to hundreds of millions of people. So it's this kind of, we're really focused on a couple platforms and what's going to show up there. But our key of play the games you want with the people you want, anywhere you want, when everybody plays, we all win. These have been part of our strategy for years and will continue to be. Our focus is on how do we continue to grow the games industry by reaching more players in more places, and how do we grow Xbox as part of that. Xbox is a hardware platform, Xbox is a publisher of great games, and Xbox as a platform for the world's best creators.
And then knowing that, how do we think about our first-party games and Game Pass?
Yeah, well, to build on what Phil just said, one thing I would add, as you were talking about growth, is just that we've sort of seen this inversion over the last 5 years, where it used to be that the platform was the biggest thing.
That's right.
And the games would sort of tuck in within the platform. Today, big games like a Roblox or a Fortnite could actually be bigger than any one platform.
Yeah,
and that really has changed the way that we think about things. So in the midst of all that, I think we at First Party can come back to sort of some core principles. First, that all of our games will be on the Xbox platform. Second, all of our games will go into Game Pass on day 1. And third, we know that Game Pass will only be available on Xbox. So there's sort of starting points for us. As Phil mentioned, there are games today that you can play that only can be found on Xbox. And at the same time, we want to bring more of our games to more players. So we're going to continue to look at that. kind of moving aside, though, from some of those and thinking more about what does it really mean for the player, to me, the two key things are cross-play and cross-save. Those things allow us to deliver on the promise of Xbox, which is play with your friends where they are, play on the devices you want, play the games you want. So,
okay, so before we get farther into this, let's just recap what we just watched here. So only 4 games, no new games, and non-established titles. So no Halo, no Gears, no Flight Sim, no nothing like that. So already the rumor mill people and the leaker people, they got that totally wrong. That was all bullshit. That was BS postings. No Starfield, no Indiana Jones. Starfield was the top of the list that every single one of the accounts that I see and follow, that was the number 1 game that they all were like, okay. And it's very, very weird that Starfield, because Starfield has right now with everyone, they have a very bad reputation right now, because everybody's all like, they feel like I like Starfield. I'm one of the ones that's on the thing of, I really like Starfield. I guess I can flip it over here. I made a whole damn retrospect on what the reasons why I like Starfield. You can go watch the video. Yeah, it's like 30 minutes long, showing gameplay and also explaining the reason why I'm saying what I'm saying about the gameplay, of how the gameplay actually works, and is probably one of the best Bethesda games that they put out in a long time. Not saying it's perfect, not saying it's not bug free or anything, not saying that the community hasn't done amazing modding support for it and everything. Not saying that stuff. What I will say about Starfield is it is actually a very good bang for your buck. I would have no problem paying full price for it. It was on Game Pass, so I played it through there. I've actually re-upped Game Pass twice over again to play more of it. So this strategy of having games on there day one, that is a big strategy. Now, the other thing in this too, no Indiana Jones. That's a huge IP. That's a big successful IP. Having that on Game Pass. So if that's on PC Game Pass, there's going to be a lot of people playing Indiana Jones. Now, the problem with Indiana Jones, though, and this is the reason why I think Indiana Jones actually isn't as big of a deal than having like something like Gears of War on, or Flight Sim. Flight Sim is one of those games that majority of everyone is just like, I don't get what the hell it is, and then they pick it up. If they can pick it up for free through a subscription base like a Game Pass or something like that, oh, this is kind of cool. It's one of those games. It's one of those simulator things. It's not really a game, it's a simulator. But Gears of War, now the difference between Indiana Jones and Gears of War is a third-person shooter. Third-person shooters are more accessible to a lot more people because of motion sickness, which Indiana Jones is first-person. There is, I mean, one of the people who is a voice actress that worked on Cyberpunk on the anime, she just said she never played Cyberpunk because it makes her motion sick. It's in first person, so she's actually never experienced. She only experienced like her husband playing a little bit of it, and you know, seeing like cutscene stuff, and then the gameplay itself, she can't do it because it makes her motion sick. A lot of people are like that. It's the reason why everybody really wanted a third-person mode in Cyberpunk. Now, to bring that back over to Indiana Jones has a little bit of third-person in it, but the majority of the game, the action and everything, is first-person. So that's going to alienate a lot of people from that title. The fact that they are not bringing it over to PlayStation, that is a huge bummer, though, for everyone. Now, this is also the reason why I say PS5, PC, own both. Get yourself a solid PC, maybe $800 PC. I know that a console is only $500, a couple $100 more, $800. You don't have to worry about subscriptions. A lot of times you don't even have to, other than like a Game Pass subscription, but you can go through different means of like a Bing Rewards or something to get that Game Pass subscription. And in all honesty, with the Game Pass, PC Game Pass, you're saving so much money in the long run by running that PC like that instead of the Xbox. I would highly suggest not go to the Xbox platform as like a box. You know, do not buy an Xbox. There's no reason to buy an Xbox. PC has everything that the Xbox has. Now, I can say that without being like, ooh, Xbox or Microsoft, don't hear me saying that, because Microsoft, this has been their game plan, and I guarantee you that's where we're going into up next in this podcast. But really quick, so Phil's saying no exclusives. So they want to, this is such back and forth messaging of like what the hell they're actually doing here, because they're saying they don't want exclusives, but they're not bringing their big franchises over to the other platforms. So do you want exclusives or don't you? And the reason why they're saying it like this is because they are trying to pull some dirty business. In all honesty, they want to grow Xbox, but they're trying to grow Xbox by jumping on board the other system. So they're basically, what Phil is saying right there is they want to poach gamers away from, which, sure, it's business. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to get more people onto your platform. It hasn't worked though for years. PlayStation is the place to be for the experience. What they need to do is double down on their subscription, become third party, like all these rumor mill ones were saying. That's the reason why everybody's ears perked up when they said, "Oh, maybe finally they're doing what they should do," and that is just go Game Pass, become third party publisher, and supply the games through Game Pass, make Game Pass into a Steam. They don't want to do this, according to Phil, which is stupid. That's the biggest, that is going to be their downfall right there, because they're not actually listening to the consumer, like Phil was trying to say. They are actually trying to play their own game and do their own thing, and it's not working because they don't have the experience that they have. Like maybe two. Hellblade is not going to be on the level of PlayStation experience. I really highly doubt it. It might be, but I highly doubt it. Forza is not on the level of Gran Turismo. Gran Turismo has VR. Forza is just like, it has its updates, but it's just not the same feel as like you have to tweak the game around and everything to get the same feel of Gran Turismo. There's just, I don't know, there's something about Forza that it's more arcadey or something. I don't know what it is, but the only thing that they really have is Flight Sim that nothing else has. At this point, Flight Sim is the only fucking experience on the platform. It's like almost like PlayStation has their Astrobot virtual museum thing that shows like the history of PlayStation, and then Microsoft has Flight Sim. That's the two things that each console has, and nobody else does anything like that. That's the other one too. So two other games. So four games overall. Two of them are basically indie titles that they know they're not gonna sell to the performance that they want to. So they're bringing those on the other platforms because they know that PlayStation, whenever they have a third party published game, the game sells the most on the PlayStation. PlayStation even outbeats PC sometimes. The PS5 is the system that everybody wants and everybody owns now. That's the reason why the PlayStation 5's, like the projection where it's been like spiked up for the last year or so, it's going to start steadying out. And like console purchases is going to go down, but that's not a bad thing. Now it's just, they're not having to spend so much making the console. Now they start selling software. That's a very good thing for PlayStation. Very good thing for Sony. But again, Xbox is trying to use the other platforms in order to boast their sales, because they're going to make the majority of the sale price or sale profit, I should say, in revenue, when somebody if they bring something like Hellblade 2, let's say. They haven't said Hellblade 2, so I'm guessing that's going to be one of them that goes multi-platform, because that was originally a PlayStation game anyways. Again, Starfield had a PS5 version in the works. That should be coming over to the PlayStation. It's not. That's ridiculously stupid. They could double up the sales on Starfield by bringing over the PlayStation. Maybe the PlayStation crowd shifts around the public perception of Starfield, because right now the public perception of Starfield on the majority of everyone is the game is not what was advertised. That's a bad thing. That's a bad look on Bethesda that Microsoft owns. But I just feel like this whole thing, it's just dirty business. They're just trying, again, they're trying to use other platforms to sell their product, which is, that's not how stuff should be working. Now, what Matt Bowie is saying here is basically the console war is dead because we want to have cross-platform, cross-save. So basically killing off in the business side, the dev side, the publisher side, the console war is dead. They want to sell the games on everything that they can sell, because then that's the most sales. Fans are the only ones in a console war. But again, like I said, the console war, what they should be focused on, online. I have a PlayStation, I have an Xbox. Let's sell this in the online virtual, engagement of shooting each other, beating each other up, whatever in that virtual space. Double the sales right there. I can shoot you, you can shoot me. We're on different consoles. Which one has a faster connection? Which one has a better controller? Blah 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 blah. All that bullshit. So, like I said, you end up doubling everything up now. Everything being launched day one on Game Pass. That's awesome to see because again, that is their core thing. So Matt Booty right here said probably Matt Booty's doing Phil's job better than Phil is in this so far. Yeah, it's usually how it goes though. It's usually how it goes. Okay, give me 1 second. All right, let's continue.
That is really only possible at a practical level when you know that your saves and your player are going to be able to move across all those parts. So not all of our games today are necessarily built to take advantage of that. There still will be some games that don't. As we bring more teams into the Xbox family, there's some catch up to do as we get there. But that cross-play, cross-save is like so fundamental to what we're doing, and I think is something that we as first party get such a good benefit from being so close to the platform.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one of the things, like you said, all of our games are always in Game Pass. And so I'm excited to announce, with the coming together that we had with Activision Blizzard King, that Activision and Blizzard games are coming to Game Pass, starting with Diablo 4 on March 28th, which I'm super excited to share today. And it's all part of our commitment to make the Xbox experience and the games that we build as widely available as possible. So now the 34 million Game Pass members can all enjoy the fantastic experience of Diablo 4.
Amazing.
What about Call of Duty? MW3 needs Game Pass to the single player story. Again, Call of Duty is another game that public perception is just dog shit with. So everybody hates Warzone. Everybody hated the MW3 campaign. You barely see anybody. I barely see anybody talking about Warzone. I never see anybody talking about the multiplayer part of MW3. Crash Team Rumble. Everybody was talking about Crash Bandicoot 4 and how hard it is to do platforming and all that stuff. Crash Team Rumble. I haven't seen one person post about it other than the official account itself doing marketing. Shit does that is terrible. That is terrible for Activision. Bring the Call of Duties over to Game Pass. You want to see a Game Pass fucking spike up through the roof? There was rumors before that Game Pass was getting Call of Duty, and that's when they had the one spike in Game Pass subscribers was when Call of Duty was rumored to be coming back. Oh, the old school Call of Duties are coming to Game Pass. All the rumor mill ones, but the Game Pass spiked up there a bit. What I want to see is Call of Duty Day 1 come to Game Pass. Why not? You own it now, own up to it. Put it on Game Pass, put it on PC Game Pass. Let's do the damn thing. I'll do a launch night every time they come out with a new Call of Duty if that happens. Sure. But I don't think they want to do that because it's going to sell. It's not going to sell anymore. People are done with Call of Duty. They want to see it on Game Pass. So sooner or later they'll end up breaking that. They'll put it over there, but
Can we come back to the point, Phil, you mentioned at the top?
Oh, and Diablo 4 is a good one to have over on Game Pass. That's really cool seeing that because anybody who is not sure about Diablo, now you can try it. Diablo 4, I didn't think I would like it at all. I tried it. It was pretty good. I played halfway through it and then other games came out, but I do kind of want to finish it. Playing on PC could be actually even more fun with the keyboard and mouse. I don't know. We'll see.
This isn't really a change in strategy for us. Can you recap for me how it isn't?
Yeah, and I thought both Matt and Sarah did a really nice job of talking about what we're doing on Xbox, where we're going. If you take a platform feature like Xbox Play Anywhere, which has been a promise that we've made on our first-party games, that you can buy our game once, you're going to get to play across Xbox and Windows.
I'm thinking cloud.
I think we're the only platform.
Okay, yes, Play Anywhere was awesome.
That makes it possible for you not only to play with your friends wherever they are, but to know that you actually have multiple entitlements to the games. I think that's a technology I'd love to see applied to more platforms. But it is this view that people are going to play Xbox in multiple places.
I will agree with Phil there. if I could buy something on the PlayStation, it'd be available over on like Steam or something, in the Steam library. That would be very cool. I will agree with him there.
Whether it's play the games you want with the people you want, anywhere you want, whether it's content, community, and cloud, whether it's when everybody plays, we all win. Like we've had different taglines, different strategy, kind of words that
Marketing buzzwords.
we've used, but always with this view that Xbox is a platform for creators who want to reach the most players. Our investments in xCloud, our investments in franchises like Minecraft and now Call of Duty and other large franchises so that we learn how to build those. This has been a strategy that we've been on for, I'd say, a decade. It's not about one device. It's not about games in service of a device, but rather the devices that people want to play on should be in service of making the games as big and popular as they possibly could be. Because really a healthy creator community on Xbox, a healthy creator community in gaming all up is the thing that all of us as game players should be voting for, because that's the thing that will lead to the best long-term success and growth in this industry.
And my understanding, just from listening and learning from you three over the past few weeks, just understanding what's happening with Xbox, is that we see trends with player behavior where people are playing on multiple devices. That is the reality. And we have put some games out on multiple platforms before. So my understanding is that that's been good for players. How does that come back to the business with all of that in mind?
Yeah, as you said, we have shipped games on other platforms. In fact, realistically, if you look with the addition of Activision and Blizzard and ZeniMax, we're one of the largest game publishers on PlayStation. We're one of the largest publishers on the Nintendo Switch, especially when you put Minecraft into the equation as well. And now we're one of the largest publishers on mobile platforms as well.
This man's lost his damn mind. The hell are you talking about? You're the biggest publisher. You are not the biggest publisher. You bought that success. That's not even success. That's not your success. Those games were already established. They were already made before you bought the companies. The fuck are you on? Like, oh man, that right there. Ooh, that one triggered me a little bit. That one triggered me a little bit.
Well, and that's not something.
He's taking credit for other people's success right there. And I'm not even talking about PlayStation success. I'm talking about what Bethesda did before the buyout, what ZeniMax overall and Activision overall and Blizzard did overall before the buyout. Phil Spencer's taking credit for that right there. Are you serious right now? No, you don't get to take credit for that. You get to say that we have, we are now the suppliers of future success, but you don't get to take credit of being the biggest publisher on the platform. No, that's just dirty. That's just dirty business.
That we want to back away from. We want to continue to be building great games that millions and millions of people can love, and that they can play those games where they want to go play. But we do understand the business success that Xbox has to have. Us as leaders in this business, the system today, the system that all companies that we play video games from, is a world of you got to be growing your business. Growth in our Xbox business is critical to the long-term health of Xbox. Many people know I've been on Xbox for over 20 years, and I want to make sure Xbox is in the best position for the next 20 years. That means healthy player community, healthy creator community, and healthy business. So when we look at opportunities to allow more people to play, more people to engage, more people to buy, more people to subscribe, it's all about putting Xbox in the best position. And our hardware is a critical component of that. The absolute best experience somebody has on Xbox is hardware that your team builds and that people play on. But that's not going to be everybody. We fully accepted that we're going to have Xbox players across all kinds of devices.
So I think a lot of people think about 2023 as this incredible year for gaming. And in a lot of ways it was. There was some really amazing releases that I think we all enjoyed. But what were the signals behind the scenes that maybe indicated how we wanted to look at the future of Xbox and how we kind of keep up with the industry?
Yeah, such a good question. And I think it's, as people who care about the industry, which I assume is people who are watching this, it was an amazing year. Some great launches, some of the games that I think will stand the test of time.
It's a golden
that people
year.
will be talking about a decade from now.
Yes.
But it's an industry that didn't really grow. And what happens when an industry doesn't grow? You end up with some job eliminations, which we had. We had even our own hard decisions to make about building a sustainable business for ourselves, but in no way were we alone in that. When you think about a healthy industry, I want players who believe that they will find the best games on the platforms that they love. I want people who invest their careers in working here to feel like this is a place that they can be successful. And that really is down to being part of an industry that is growing.
Man, he really is like Phil Spencer is the Ron DeSantis of gaming. There is truth buried within the kind of marketing BS that he's pushing right there. The truth of the matter is yes, there has been a lot of layoffs. Yes, the industry has been absolutely terrible. It's a great game. It was 23 was a great. It was an amazing year for games. It was terrible for the industry. Absolutely. But that's because the industry, with all this COVID stuff and everything, they hired way too many people to work from home, and then they had the whole world is downsizing of what is actually sustainable for both people coming to work in office and all that, and who they can keep on, because again, the world shifted and it shifted back, of how much, especially with the entertainment industry and tech industry and everything, how much people are spending on stuff and how much, the companies can pay employees and everything. So man, like Phil, just the way that Phil is trying to push it off of like, oh yes, we are going to try and grow Xbox, and all right.
If you listen to Lisa Su, the AMD CEO, she'll say that AMD powered consoles are likely to decline in 2024. I think there's an amazing set of games coming in 2024, but
well, the Xbox side of things is going to decline. The PlayStation, so the PlayStation 5 is going to decline slightly again, but that's because everybody has one. The Xbox is going to decline because nobody gives a fuck about the Xbox. Everybody's going to PC.
If we don't get to
also a major note about the PC is go Intel NVIDIA, because you get way more bang for your buck. DLSS is way better than FSR. Just, especially also if you're doing like streaming on the same computer that you're gaming, Intel 13th and above processors, 13th gen and above processors can do multiple processes on the processor is made to handle multiple processing way better than an AMD one is. There's some people that will fight that argument. It's just dumb to fight it because it's already like what I'm doing right now with my background is only available through NVIDIA chipsets, and the only reason why I don't have encoding overload happening and everything is running smooth is because my Intel chip that I have is a 13th gen Intel chip, and I can offload some of the processing that is working with the stream to keep the stream up and run onto one part of the processor while it's encoding and everything else on another part of the processor. So again, Intel NVIDIA is your best setup overall for gaming. AMD, if he's even wanting to bring in AMD into the question. Now, both the PlayStation and the Xbox run AMD chipsets, but they're customized chipsets in the... I don't exactly know how they customize them, but I know that they're customized to the specs of each company. Microsoft has not figured out... Their R&D team has not figured out how to keep up with Sony's R&D team. That's the reason why the PlayStation can run higher frame rates overall. It just is.
Growing as an industry, the industry will struggle. And today there's really two choices on how do you grow the industry. Do you say, I have a fixed number of players, the players that we have today, and do I find new ways to monetize those players to get more money from the players that I have? Or do you think about how do I expand the business I have by finding new players and adding those to the base of players that already play? Our focus on Xbox for the last decade has really been on that latter point of how do we make sure Xbox is growing for our players, growing for our creators, so those people are finding success on our platform.
Yet you've already had multiple studio heads leave because they don't like the way that Microsoft is managing the company, and also you just got done saying that you want to poach players from other systems and other, like basically poaching Nintendo and PlayStation players. but then they want to expand and they need to expand to other. Again, Phil, he's talking out both sides of his mouth. He is seriously.
which will grow the Xbox business and put Xbox in a position to be very strong for years and decades to come.
Matt, earlier you were talking about these growing gaming communities, how they're incredibly large, and comparable on such a different level when we think about console audiences. Like you mentioned Roblox, you mentioned Fortnite. So how are we're obviously thinking about our responsibility, our hardware responsibility is supporting the growth of gaming communities. How has that actually shown up for the players? Are there other games we can speak to from our portfolio?
Well, as Phil mentioned, I mean, two of the biggest ones for us, Call of Duty and Minecraft, I mean, they are driven just from the bottom up by the communities of people that play those games, which is so great. I think about it, for the player community, it comes down to where are the friends, where are the people you play with, and then equally important is where have you built up your library of games, right? Where have you invested? Where's that library? I think those two things probably are some of the biggest influences on where people choose to play and what devices they choose to play.
Yeah.
When we think about, on the other side, the developer side, just any game developer wants their game to find the biggest audience possible. That's just the nature of building a game. You want people to enjoy and participate in what you've made. And I think we're in a unique position to deliver on that just because we are the platform. We build hardware, we've got a first-party games group, and then we've got a system that ties that together, that brings together your friends, your progression, your achievements, all of that. And I think that's really what has contributed to the momentum behind some of these communities.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you look at, just step back and you look at the history of the industry, we've moved from a place where it used to be that someone built and launched a game to accelerate hardware to actually the things we do with our hardware and with our platform are all in service of making those games bigger. And we think about that across all of the investments we make, the consoles we build, the investments we do with things like cross-play, cross-progression, the things.
What the Your console hasn't innovated in almost 10 years. Since the Xbox One, you guys haven't innovated. What? Matt Booty is the smartest person in this room, outside maybe the interviewer. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous hearing this. Like, maybe the cloud technology that kind of sort of works if you have like a very high-speed internet access, which most people don't. Go online and play online games. You will find out half of the majority of everyone doesn't have a fucking good internet connection. Play a fighting game. My God, it's ridiculous. Innovation and Xbox are not. That's no. Innovation is this fucking controller right here that does DualSense, that does gyroscope, that has a microphone built into it. It has lights, RGB lighting fucking built into it. It has a touchpad on the damn thing. The Xbox controller is basically the same fucking controller as the Xbox 360 controller, with just a little more ergonomic design happening to it. And what you have rumble, a little bit of rumbly in the triggers. Oh my God. It's still using Rumble tech from 20 years ago. Innovation in Xbox. This shit. This is the reason why Xbox is doing so fucking badly, because they have these dipshits running the show. Sorry, but
things that we're doing with cloud. How do we actually give more options to game creators so they can have the greatest success? I think one of the fun recent examples about this is actually Pal World. You know, Pal World was able to launch. They were a game preview. They launched in Game Pass. They also simultaneously launched in Steam. And through the combination of those things, you know, Pocket Pair was.
Steam has the biggest player base outside of Game Pass because nobody buys the game on Xbox because of Game Pass, and then Steam is where you're getting all your revenue from. So again, she's making dumbass points. Ugh.
Able to have this outsized success, and it was the largest third-party Game Pass launch ever. And that's all because we give
on player base, not sales. There is no microtransactions in the game, which is amazing. It's awesome to see it. But also, if you know anything about the game developers, apparently, according to Daniel O'Dwyer from NoClip, he made a video talking about how the guy, and he showed the games on the screen, that development studio basically rips off ideas off from other development studios. That's the reason why Power World is basically Pokemon, because that's what they do. They make their own version of something else that's popular, and then, I mean, they do a good job. The reason why they can get away with it is because the game is actually fun as fuck. I've played Power World multiple times on stream. It's a Pokemon ripoff. That's the reason why I keep making the jokes about, like, oh yeah, I'm throwing a Pokeball and everything. That's why everybody's making those jokes, because it's a ripoff, but it's a well done ripoff, so they can kind of get away with it. It's one of those things of, like, if you're going to do a cover version of a song, you better do it as good, if not better, than the original, or people are just going to look at you like, whatever. That's where Xbox is at right now.
Creators options on how they can launch their games. We've got subscription, we've got retail, we've got free to play, we've got game preview, we have the consoles, we have our experience on PC, and they can access all of those things. And when we
Yet the PlayStation has experiences that you want to pay $75 for, because you know it's going to be one hell of an experience, a thrill ride, iconic characters. The whole, like, PlayStation is doing the same thing that, like, Capcom is doing right now. The same thing that Square Enix, when Square Enix comes out with a very good game like FF7 Rebirth is going to be, that's when, yeah, like, PlayStation does that. They almost knock it out the park every single time. I have to say almost now, because Helldivers 2 doesn't quite do that, although there is a lot of people out there that is loving Helldivers 2. So even when they don't make something that is at that same quality, people are still like, this is amazing. So again, that's what these two are having an uphill battle. And Matt Bowie's over there like, okay, I understand. Like, Matt Bowie understands. Matt Bowie is like Herman Holtz. Herman Holtz? Yeah. From PlayStation. Like, Matt Bowie would be great over at PlayStation, I feel like. At one point in time, I thought Phil Spencer might be, but now that he's starting, now that you're putting him in the pressure pot, the cooker over here, he's starting to fall apart. He very much, like I said, he's like the Ron DeSantis of gaming.
Step back and we just look at the performance of our platform all up, we know it's working. We're at the highest level of users on console, the highest level of users on PC, the highest level of users on cloud ever. We have double-digit growth rate on PC and cloud, places where we're enabling creators to actually reach new players beyond the console ecosystem. And that's why we're leaning into it and doing more, because we see all those signals.
So we're talking about the role that hardware plays for creators, for the games and those communities. What about the role that hardware plays for us as a business, for Xbox?
When we look at our hardware, it really is, and Phil said this earlier, it's where you get like the most flagship seminal experience of Xbox. And it also represents a developer target. Our developers can build the specs of our hardware, and we invest to make sure they know when they do that, that the games are going to run great on our hardware, but they're also going to be able to be accessed across any screen because of all the other investments we make. So we're giving them an easy way to access as many players as possible. And we actually have more creators right now building for Xbox than ever before, by nature, thousands of them, by nature of those investments. And we got more to come. There's some exciting stuff coming out in hardware that we're going to share this holiday. And we're also invested in the next generation roadmap. And what we're really focused on there is delivering the largest technical leap you will have ever seen in a hardware generation, which makes it better for players and better for creators.
Oh my God, the marketing slogans. You haven't done it in 2 console generations. You're not going to do it in the 3rd. You're not. This is stupid. This is she is just marketing training 101. That's all Esther Bondi is. Holy shit.
And the visions that they're building.
And then when we're talking about hardware too, there's these other considerations that are really important to our community, probably to each one of ourselves as well. When you talk about library, because I want to dig in on that a little bit more. You know, as we talk about cloud in the wider entertainment industry, there's conversations about streaming. How is that impacting how I own my content that I've invested in? So what can we say about our stance around game preservation?
Yeah, you know, one of the highlights for me of being in this position was getting to stand on stage when we announced back compat coming to Xbox One. Like, it was fantastic. People were reading the teleprompter before I could read it. Slow reader, and just feeling the energy in the auditorium as we were saying that, and online. You know, one of the cues I think us as being part of Microsoft take is looking at Windows and how Windows over.
I will give them credit. They had a very decent library of back compat on Xbox One. The problem is that's all they had. That's all they had. Exclusives wise, Microsoft has always been the console of like, do something, make something that makes me not just be like, okay, this is the reason why I called it nostalgia box for a long time for the Xbox One, because the nostalgia box, that's basically all I was doing on there was back compat. And then every like 6 months or so, you'd have something that maybe once a year you'd have something that was like, damn, that was really cool. Everything else is third party.
For decades has maintained software compatibility with things that are built on it. Like I can still go back and play some of the games that I love playing on Windows from decades ago, and it will still run. And we try to bring that same view to consoles. It's harder in console because the line between what the hardware is and what the game is in consoles is traditionally, it's tighter, which makes compatibility, you end up doing these generational compatibilities that we've built. But I will say compatibility, the ability to not only play the games, but my saves are still there with our cloud save systems to try to keep the services up as long as we can so that people can play, is a tenet of what we are as Xbox. It's at our foundation. And when we look at future hardware generations and what we're going to support, making sure that we respect, which is the word I use, respect the investments that people have made in Xbox going forward is fundamental. And the fact that you get entitlements when you buy a game from us on both Windows and Xbox also means you have the ability to play that game across a multitude of devices.
Again, okay. Yes, you get the ability to play between your Xbox and your PC, which most everyone, if they buy something off the Xbox store, they're buying it to run it on the PC. Now, basically, you pick up Game Pass, like I said, and you run it that way. But just boy. Hold on, let me just rewind real quick because there was a thought I had, and now I just.
Is fundamental. And the fact that you get entitlements that people have made and making sure that we respect
a little bit
is a tenet of what we are as Xbox. It's at our foundation. And when we look at future hardware generations and what we're going to support, making sure that we respect, which is
what the hell?
The ability to not only play.
Sorry, I had a thought there. I should be writing it down. I had a thought there and I lost it.
Play the games, but my saves are still there with our cloud save system.
So he's talking about, keeping servers online and everything for multiplayer games for years to come. A lot of your old Xbox titles, by the time they get over to Game Pass, those old servers are going to be down because Activision is shutting down old servers to try and make more server base for Warzone and shit. So again, what he's saying and what's actually the reality of the situation is kind of two different conversations there. It's not exactly the real deal on shit.
Raise respect that you get entitlements when you buy a game from across a multitude of devices, which I think furthers the compatibility of the games that you own.
Can we go back to what Xbox stands for today? I think we've pretty much covered all of the elements, but if you could break it down for me.
When you play on Xbox, what we're saying is you're playing on a platform where the biggest games in the world are always going to be.
I guess we're just going to never mind God of War Ragnarok. We're just gonna never mind Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. We're gonna never mind Helldivers as being every sales figure that there is. They have Palworld, but man, Sarah Bondi. Oh boy, she is a piece of work. Okay.
You're playing on a platform where you get to access Game Pass. And all of the games from our incredible range of studios will always launch in Game Pass day one. And you're playing on a platform that's dedicated to you, like player-first features, cross-play, cross-save, cross-progression, backwards compatibility, being able to play your games in your library anywhere you want because of the investments that we make in cloud gaming. And so you're playing somewhere where you're investing and you get to take the games forward with you and across all of the screens where you are. And I think most importantly, Xbox is a place where you know when you're investing in Xbox, you're investing somewhere that is dedicated to making games more successful and creators more successful so that they can invest more to bring even better experiences to you all of the time.
Yeah,
Cross-play and cross-save is across every single platform that there is. If the game is based always online, like Monster Hunter, for fuck's sake, you can take your stuff and I do believe Monster Hunter. That might be a bad example. There's multiple games though that they run always online, and you can take your save and do cross-save with it. And there's a lot of development studios that are making it so you can. I mean, hell, even the PlayStation is like you can take your PS4 save, put it onto your Last of Us Part 2 Remastered. I took the PS4 save that was platinumed out. I imported it over to the PS5 version, got it free platinum, just like that. Boom. There's multiple games that do that also, like your MMOs, your always online games, your games as a service games. You can take your save from one platform. Rainbow Six Siege, that one, I have all of my operators and everything. I off from Game Pass. I downloaded it onto the PC to check it out, see how it'd run, and I forgot the game's getting a little bit older, so it runs just fine. But I had all my progress right there. It just loaded up because it's on a server. So cross play is a good one. Cross save that's nothing. That's old news. That's super old news. That's nostalgia box news. Cloud gaming is really kind of like one of the worst things that they could end up having, because again, if it's co-op, you're going to run into a little bit of latency in the game when you're trying to co-op with somebody. That's fine. But if you're trying to do competitive online stuff, cloud gaming is the worst thing to happen to competitive online, because now you have people that are trying to play through a cloud, going through a server, going through another server to connect to the cloud. That server, both of those two servers are playing online, and you have the input latency that's run, because then you have also your like either a rollback netcode or something else that's also trying to figure out like where the hell the inputs are off from, which system is it trying to load the inputs off from. It's a mess. Like it's a wonder online works at all when it's console to console. Then you're adding a whole other server base and a cloud, streaming service into that mix also. It's ridiculous. It's stupid as all hell. So yeah, every time Sarah opens her mouth, it's just wow.
Just that investment in the studios is so, and we feel that as part of first party with the platform proximity. It's kind of amazing now to look out across all the studios that we've got.
That's right. You work
just
first
be
party.
reminded that we're now one of the biggest development organizations in the industry. What does that mean for players? It means that the biggest games are going to continue to come to Xbox.
Nice
and
marketing a
this
little bit,
2024, the year coming up, we've got more than 10 major releases coming up. Great stuff. Hellblade 2. We've got Diablo expansion. We've got Avowed, Ara, the Indiana Jones game, and there's more in development, which I think we're going to be able to share more about at our June showcase coming up pretty soon.
Well, I guess I should get ready to work on that show. Well, thank you all for showing up on the podcast today, and we'll see the rest of you this June.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tina.
Thank you.
Okay, well, yeah. I think I think we're seeing. So I was hoping Xbox would be able to pull their foot out of the ground, and they're actually digging themselves in deeper, I think, with this. Again, it's funny because a lot of the Xbox fans are all like, "No, we can't have Xbox games on PlayStation." And the PlayStation fans are also like, "No, I don't want that shit on my console, on my screen, and everything." But again, would you rather have more things to do or less? And to me, it's like, well, I'd much rather have more things to do. I think the biggest takeaways from this, though, is that do not, I was thinking maybe because I was seeing it from so many spots that everybody was like, oh my god, Xbox is bringing games over, like Starfield and this and that and the other thing. I was thinking Starfield. So on thinking from what you hear developers talk and everything, the developers said that they had a PS5 version of Starfield. That's the reason why I was like, maybe we might see if they just dust off the PS5 build. They update all the patch update stuff that they did. However easy or hard it is to incorporate all the patch update stuff into that, you can essentially take the Xbox finished build and then kind of port it to the PlayStation. It's going to have some bugs and glitches and everything, but work on all that stuff. Give it 3 months for everybody to get it actually working and optimized and compatible on the PlayStation side of things, and then put that out there and have Starfield on the PlayStation. Unfortunately, like I said, they're not playing nice with everyone. They're not even playing nice with the player base. What they are doing is they're trying to use you guys, and they're trying to use. So they're not. The reason why I say you guys is because I'm not invested in Xbox. The only thing I run, basically, Xbox to me, the way I run the Xbox brand or whatever, the way I view Xbox is it is Steam. I don't view Xbox as being a console. I don't view Xbox as being a first-party publisher. Every single one of those games, even what Matt Bowie was saying, as much as I like Matt Bowie and I respect what he's doing for Xbox, because I think he's probably one of the better ones in there. I've lost basically all respect for Phil Spencer and Sarah Bondi after this podcast. But again, they've bought in success. They're not making success. They have bought in success, and that's what they're now. They are tripling down on it, and they are using their player base to try and buy more success, or to try and actually not even buy more success. They are using their player base to. It is one part buying the success, but they're trying to repay the debt that they've gotten from buying the success, because they paid way more for Activision than they wanted to. So now they're trying to use the player base and use other built player bases, not bought in player bases, but Sony has built a player base where Microsoft is buying their players, because now you are forced to come over to the Xbox side of things because we own the game that you really love. We bought it and we own it, so you have to come over to it. PlayStation is like, check this thing out, and everybody's like, damn, that's really cool. I want a PlayStation now. Let's go do it. And that's building. That's two very, very different ways of doing business right there. We've been saying it for years that this is what's going on, and a lot of people argue about it. A lot of people go, no, but look at the experiences that you're having. Hellblade was literally bought for. that was Microsoft Flight Sim is something that they built. That's one of the few things that they actually built. But Hellblade was bought away from the PlayStation platform. It was originally released on the PlayStation platform. They bought the studio so they could take that chunk of players and bring it over to them. They bought that success. Call of Duty now. They think they are buying all these Call of Duty players over. The problem is Valorant is a thing. Fortnite is a thing. Warzone is basically it's like null and void. Rainbow Six Siege is becoming is starting to get another third, fourth wind, whatever. Siege been around for a long time now. This is, again, though, I think the biggest thing that I'm going to be changing up in my day-to-day on all this stuff, though, is I'm going to probably be redoing my social media. Because, I mean, every single one, like, the accounts weren't, they got you in the right direction. Today, from what we just seen, they all blatantly just lied. They're all just lying. Just blatant lies. They're just making shit up to get engagement, to farm out. And that's the problem with social media right now is you have ad rev on social media, and that ad rev is making people just post bullshit to get engagement. They're engagement farming. There we go. And that's kind of a rough one, because now it's like it's kind of getting harder to see what is actually something that is happening. There's moments where, I mean, who knows? So was the Xbox leak stuff that we've seen, was that all just made up? Was it Photoshop stuff just to get engagement? And they passed that shit around to everybody, passed it around to get engagement. Because everything that was in those leaks is not coming. It's not showing up here. So unless they did a full 180 turn on everything that they've been investing in for the last like 3 years, all those leaks when it came to the Activision, well, they did officially say though that those leaks, some of it was true. So again, they could hyping it up with Photoshop information also. I don't know. Everything's underneath NDA. It's hard. It's hard to figure out what exactly is real. But that's definitely something that's a major issue right now, is like, what the hell is real? Like, it's, trying to do a Let's Talk, a podcast like this, or a Let's Talk show, which is essentially, a show I've been running for almost 10 years. And it's a podcast of my own, trying to figure out what information is true and not when I am not in the middle of LA, when I am not in the middle of all this. I'm taking what I have seen happen over the years, and I'm pushing it with my gut instinct, and then also I'm trying to figure, okay, my gut instinct says this might be some bull, so if it's BS, let's go and check out, see what people are actually working on the project is saying, and then cross-reference it back and forth. It's journalism in a way, but I can get stuff wrong. I can believe in rumors and leaks just like anybody else, and it's like, that kind of makes sense. If it's a very good rumor or leak, sometimes they make sense. Yeah. So I think that's, like I said, going forward, I need to reevaluate my social media, and I think anybody that's putting out there like leak information, rumors, breaking news, and all that stuff. You notice how they said hardware stuff, but they said the next gen of hardware. So they're R&Ding a new console, but I was hearing that it's going to be handheld, it's going to be this and that. And again, my gut feeling says it's not going to be a handheld. They are doubling down on cloud stuff. That's what they were just talking about right there. So take the cloud service stuff, put it onto your cell phone. Microsoft makes a cell phone. That's your handheld. They don't care about an actual like Steam Deck type of thing. They can just sell the game, the Xbox game on the Steam Deck. That's way cheaper to do. Business wise, you want to make your money cheaper. You want to keep your money run cheaper than divulging into a new hardware system. Again, though, Phil Spencer and Sarah Bondi, we need replacements for those two. They are not. Matt Booty's doing his job correct, but he's basically in the thick of things with the gamers. So that's where he's coming from. That's the reason why. And this is the reason why Sony is doing so good, because Herman Hulse is essentially like I was saying before on another Let's Talk, he's essentially I think it was the Last of Us stuff, but Herman Hulse is essentially like the guy. He goes and is like, okay, you guys are on schedule on this project, very cool, we'll give you a little more funding, or if you need it or whatever else, and he'll go in and be like, okay, so what do you guys have? He assesses it, but he's also from Guerrilla Games. Like, he knows game development, he knows how to ship a very good game, he has done it before multiple times. So he knows what works and he knows what doesn't work, and he can give the insight, the pointers and everything to his team, where because they're in the development studio and they think this is awesome. You need that outside perspective sometimes to really be like, yeah, cool. Either which way. It feels like Xbox doesn't have it seems like they're not listening to the outside advice of like, I don't know if this game is as much as, it's as crazy as you think it is. But look who you got running the ship. This is the problem. Satya Nadella could give a shit less about gaming, even though his marketing team is like, no, you have to go out there and be like, we want the future of gaming to be Xbox and all that stuff, of course, because they're trying to sell something. Satya Nadella is just nothing but marketing. Phil Spencer right there, nothing but marketing. Sarah Bondi is bad marketing. And Matt Bowie is basically like a gamer trying to make cool stuff happen. That was the gist of what I'm getting out of all this stuff. and we're seeing it reflected in the business side of Xbox overall. So yeah, it's unfortunate. I was kind of hoping some of the Xbox stuff would come over to PlayStation just so we could see bigger fan base around things like Crash and Spyro, and hopefully if I don't know if they fucking made. If they put Call of Duty on Game Pass, I mean, I wanted to actually check out the single player story for MW3. I really don't care to buy it. It's short and it sounds like it's cheaply made or something. I don't know. But yeah, that was one that I missed out on because I'm just like, I'm not paying full price for this. This is just dumb. And also just Activision, all the shit that they've been doing behind the scenes. I'm not, or I should say, Infinity Ward and Activision, Microsoft, like that whole line of everything. Like if they came out with a new Crash Bandicoot, I'm there. It's like I want to see what they could end up doing with that, or a new Spyro. I'm there, but I'm not against Activision. Like some people I've seen, I'm against Ubisoft. It's like it's stupid. Yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna wrap up. I'm gonna get going though. I'm a little over an hour on this. I got a ton of stuff to do behind the scenes here. Yeah. Unfortunate. Xbox is going to triple down on their demise like that. That's technically. I mean, it hasn't worked. I'm not just saying that as like I'm a fan of PlayStation or anything, but what they have been doing has not worked for them, and now they are just being like, we're going to do it even more. It's like, what do you think is going to happen here? It's not going to end well for you. Kind of common sense right there. It's not going to end well for you. So yeah, it's unfortunate. They could be something very cool. Again, if they went third party with all their stuff, that would have been the probably game-changing announcement. Oh my God, the industry comes together. They are like, we're going to work with you guys, but we're also trying to screw you guys over. It's like, fuck you. Yeah. Oh well, it's sad. It's sad for the Xboxers, whatever you want. I'm technically on the Xbox train because I use Game Pass. But then again, like I said, I use Game Pass like it's Steam. It's like I don't give a shit about the Xbox brand. I just want to see the cool. If there's a game that has my attention and it's on Game Pass, I can do it through a subscription. I feel like that's where everyone's at with the Xbox brand. It's like I don't give a shit about your console. I just want to have access to the game. But when it comes to the PlayStation, it's like, oh my God, the PlayStation can do this and that and the other thing. It's like, because like I said, it's because they've built up a fan base where Microsoft is just buying their fan base. If you buy your fan base and don't build it, it's the same thing as streaming and YouTube and everything. If you're buying followers, you ain't gonna get donations. It's like you're just buying numbers on the screen. You're not actually building the community and all that. That's exactly what's happening here, where you don't have the investment in Xbox really, because it's just like, oh okay, yeah, whatever, I'll just use the Game Pass. So yeah, this is it's not even interesting. It's sad to see, really. Xbox could have been something great, but what was Xbox built on? This is the last thing I'll leave off on. What was Xbox built on? I need to take over the living room. Go and watch the Xbox documentary series that they made. Officially Xbox documentary series that they made. All the old people that worked there, that made the original DX box, DX11 box, DX10 box, whatever the hell it was called there. Direct Xbox. That's what it was. The ones that made the original Direct Xbox. That was a computer that could load up really quickly, that could play games. They literally used a PlayStation fucking game to, they basically tried to rip off the PlayStation, make it in their own thing, the same way that Bill Gates ripped off, code and shit to try and make Windows with. This is what Microsoft does. So of course Xbox is trying to poach other. It's just in the DNA of their company. At this, yeah. Do I still use their products? Yes. Do they do dirty business? Absolutely. But that's kind of just the way that the whole thing is. Though you can't. The Windows is the only thing that fully functions for what I do. so I have to use it. Yeah, it's unfortunate seeing all this, but industry is going to change. Things are going to shift, and it's not going to be in the favor of Xbox. With this way of thinking, I think they're going to R&D a new console. I think they might cut the new console, and then like, so here's where the rumor leaker mill people are going to be right. Is 5 years from now, maybe 3 years from now, whenever the PlayStation 6 comes out. This is my big brain theory prediction. When the PlayStation 6 drops, Xbox will go third party, and they will start selling all of their biggest franchises on the PlayStation 6. That's my biggest brain theory of this, of everything that they just said here. Think that's where they might be headed, because they are already sort of hinting at third party stuff, but they don't want to commit to it. They want to try and poach as much player base to keep themselves afloat, and then they'll probably try and go into third party and be like, look at what we did. We're third party. We're selling all these games. It's like, you're not selling it on your own platform. You're buying your player base once again to push your brand onto other people's platforms. It's weird. Microsoft is doing some dirty business behind the scenes with all this, but yeah. Anyways, if you'd be so kindly on this Let's Talk video, subscribe to the channel. We are 19 away from who knows, it could even be 18 away at this point. I've been getting like 1-2 subs every day on that train to 500, and if you would kindly drop a subscribe, then that'd be very, very awesome to see. Share, like, bell notification, the whole 9 yards there. If you're over on twitch.tv/Warwolf, which I am also been multi-streaming on both again, because Twitch, I want to see Twitch do good. Unfortunately, we need to get the gaming culture back up and around. So I'm trying to be the example of change I want to see on the platform. But Anyways, subscribe to the YouTube channel to see the VODs and all the exclusive content over on YouTube that I do. It's a lot. It's like 2 or 3 videos a day that I normally try and do, and plus all the Let's Talks and everything else are over here. So, like I said. Anyways, I'm going to get going. I got a whole bunch of stuff to do behind the scenes and everything. The stream intro, I'm going to try and get it updated today. We'll see about it. Don't quote me on it, but I'm going to try and get it updated today with some tech and stuff and everything else in there. So be on the lookout next time I stream. Get here within the first 5 minutes. You can end up seeing the stream, 5-10 minutes, whatever. The stream intro, I mean, and So, anyways, it's been a Let's Talk Xbox podcast. A lot of marketing jargon and BS. Yeah. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for stopping by, and as always, I will see ya next time.